Okay. Well, we are now at our next presenter for the Senior Heart Song Summit. I am wondering how everybody is feeling. If you would put a reaction in the the heart or the thumbs up or a clap or whatever, but just tell us how you're feeling. And by getting in touch with your emotions, it makes your heart song a little bit easier to hear. I'm delighted to be welcoming our next presenter, who is Mila Johansen. Mila is a writer, a speaker, a coach, an educator. She has 5 best-selling books, and one of the books that I had the pleasure of hearing about recently was her relationship with her grandmother, and maybe she'll share a little bit of that in her presentation today. But it's awesome how people make an influence on us, help set the path for us so that we can hear our heart songs, so that we can have our heart songs speak a little bit louder to us. I know that one of the people that made a big difference in my life is someone who I actually never even met, but my great grandfather, who immigrated from England to the United States back in the middle of the 19th century and lived a life that I dreamed of following in his footsteps when I was a kid. And Mila is well known for helping authors to write and take advantage of the short book. So to help us along our writing journey, let us welcome Mila Johansen.
Thank you. Can you hear me well enough? Okay, good. I really want to thank you, Olivia and Steve, for inviting me to do this. I've been speaking on 2 or 3 podcasts all over the world about my grandmother's book, From Cowgirl to Congress, and about writing the short book and giving people permission to write that 36-page book, and then you can use it for your longer book. I think that's one of my biggest forts in life, is to give people permission to just do it. Every time they write an article about me anywhere, and it's for the last 3 decades, is they always title it "Just Do It" or "Just Start." And that's me. I just say, let's go. Let's not even let anything get in our way, because really there's nothing to stop you from doing anything, actually. And I teach all kinds of subjects, but right now I'm really into writing and publishing and never get tired of talking about it. And I want to let you know where I am. I'm here at in San Diego on vacation with my family, and I took a picture of one of the beaches in Encinitas that we boogie board on every morning. So I just thought I'd put it up and it looked pretty good, so I left it up. Anyway, it's very exciting to be here. And I'm helping people all over the world by giving them that permission to write their short book. A lot of people think they have to write that huge, long book, and they get very daunted by that. So, and also I do a thing where it's like going to the gym. You don't have to go to the gym for an hour or 2. I stop my car. I might be in my business suit. I get out. I walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes. I get back in my car and go to work. So we don't have to do these long stints of everything. In fact, the big thing going around the writer's world right now is 20 minutes a day is all we ask. And I say 5 minutes a day. You know, Toni Morrison, the famous author, she could only write for 15 minutes a day when she first started because of work, family, and obligations. And she wrote her first novel in 15 minutes a day. And the rest is history. She's written many, many novels. And so don't think of everything in huge, giant chunks. In fact, for mothers, they're saying, put on a timer and clean your kitchen counter for 10 minutes. You know, none of this long stint anymore. Our attention spans won't allow it, for one thing. So anyway, so I'm helping people all over the world. And what an adventure. So many different kinds of books I'm working on with people. One man is a comedian from New York. Another man is writing a pretty heavy duty, kind of beyond what I like to read, science fiction novel. And another woman is a professor from Paris writing about divorce during COVID, which I thought was interesting. And she found out she had about 5 more books after talking to me. And so that's a danger of talking to me. you might have to write some more books than the one you're thinking of, so that's exciting. And then let's see, I got another woman is writing about her experience of being a Mormon. And she got into it. She was into it. She did all of it. And then finally she realized she had to get out and how she got out. So that's a very interesting one that we're working on right now. There's quite a few. It's very, very interesting to me. So anyway, I want to take you into my PowerPoint and show you a few things. We're going to probably just skim the surface today because there's so much to it, but it's so easy on Amazon to publish today. You can go on and join KDP. KDP is Kindle Direct Publishing. And if you join KDP, they're going to ask you for a way to pay you later. So you have to sign up for that now. But if you're already an Amazon member, like you buy on Amazon, it's the same password, which makes it super easy. And then when you go into KDP, the best way to start your book is to go to KDP University and find the templates. The industry standard right now is 6x9. And that's what most books you see in the bookstores are. And so you can find your 6x9 template. Pick the one with the placeholders. It says title page, chapter page, all the different pages, and then it has script all the way through for chapter 1. So then what you do is you black out that and put yours in, and then you're going to start seeing your book form by the day one you're writing it. This is what I suggest. Or you can do it in Word, but if you do it in KDP University, your book will be ready to print when you're ready for a sample, which is the great thing about Amazon is you get these samples. Let me show you. This is my book about my, it's not showing with my little picture. Oh, wait, I put it over me. Yeah, there we go. From Cowgirl to Congress. This book is 300 pages. And you can see the thickness. Now, after I wrote her book, I had to write a fluffy book about my dogs because this was so intense with pictures and metadata and everything for museums. So then I wrote a shorter book about my dogs, and this one is 125 pages, this one right here. So you see the difference? Well, this one, for samples and to buy to sell to my friends, is only $4.35. And this one, backwards, is $2.45. So you get these samples, and I think this one, and then when you get a sample, they have a gray bar. So they're not printed yet. You're just getting samples, even if you're going to print somewhere else. And then you buy about 5 or 10, and you send them to your beta readers or your family to see what they think. Even if you're not done with the book, let's say you're even half done with the book. I have a student right now who put out this book, and he just did it this week. And I said, before it's finished, get it in your hand and you'll feel so good. You get this book in your hand and it feels good. It's got this great feeling. And let's see, how many pages is he at? He's at 125 pages. And he's going to be going to probably 190. So that's good, So he did what I said. I love, it's kind of a weird name, kind of a weird book, but I'm not censoring my clients' books, So anyway, he is a very good writer, by the way. His writing is exceptional, which I'm very impressed with. But I'm so impressed with students who do what I say. It feels so good when they take you seriously. And he put the book out. He's still going to be working on it. And that's a great thing. You can even publish it on KDP, on Amazon. And then later on, like after my book, a couple friends said, Mila, there's 2 mistakes on page 53. So I went in, fixed those little mistakes, and rebooted the book. So that's the magic of it. And believe me on this, you're always going to have mistakes. You can't avoid it. One of my agents said that they're in the 20th edition of one of their books and they're still finding mistakes. So forgive yourself any mistakes. Okay, that's one of the big things. So I'm going to go and share the screen if that's okay with Olivia. Okay. And let's see, where'd it go? Oh my gosh, I went to YouTube for a minute. Oh, here we are. Okay, so I'm going to just go through this with you, and anytime you have questions, I'm loving questions. So here we go for present, and I'm going to move this chat. Chat's always in the way, isn't it? Kind of. Okay, so the main thing is to write it, just do it. Keep your butt in the seat. That's the mantra circling the writer's world right now. And here's the thing about 20 minutes. And the great thing is Barbara Kingsolver, the novelist of all time, she says, give yourself permission to write a bad book and then work on it until it's a good book. And what she means is, and she said it in this way too, is get it down on paper. Do not let anything stop you. Do not stop for editing or research. Just write, because that way you'll get your book done post haste. It'll be amazing, and you'll be surprised how fast you can write your book. And then and get started. I mean, what is the cost, you might ask? Well, there is no cost. It can be completely free. Or you can go on to places like Fiverr and find people for very reasonable who will do the parts you don't want to do, like load your book onto Amazon or do the editing. Or you can find your book covers there. You can find so many things there. Right now, that's where I'm doing all my tutoring, is through Fiverr. And it's funny, so many people have found me that I'm tutoring people every day. I love Fiverr. It's a place you can put your own work on also, is what you can do. And it's not very hard if you just follow the little simple rules. Olivia will post my gift at the end, and that kind of gets you started in writing your book. Like, first of all, we write our chapter titles or bullet list, and then you pick the easiest one, write that, and then when you're done with that, you go, wow, that wasn't so bad. I could do that. So then you pick the next easiest one, and pretty soon you're sucked into your book and you want to just write each chapter. And when you're writing your short book, each chapter only has to be a page or two. Then you can expand it to a longer book later. So, and this is so exciting. A Harvard study showed that when we learn something new, especially if it hurts our brain, like computer skills or music or language, computer skills for me, it can help prevent Alzheimer's. And another one is a trick, like a homework assignment I'd like to give you, is brushing your teeth with your opposite hand. I'm right-handed, so I started brushing my teeth after this with my left hand, and the first 3 days I made a huge mess all over my mouth, even with an electric toothbrush. After 3 days, I got better. But after 3 days, I wanted to do things I could never think of before that were not in my vocabulary, like screwing things into the wall. I am not left-brained at all. And so now I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years whenever I think of it. Don't beat yourself up. When you don't think of it, don't worry, just go back to it. Like every once in a while, I have to go to a meeting or something I'm nervous about. So I start brushing my teeth with my left hand about 3 days before, and it makes me brave again. So I'm telling you, brushing your teeth with your left hand is a miracle tool. So start tonight and see what happens to you. You know, it's very, very interesting. The good news is that the shortest book you can publish on Amazon with a spine is 36 pages. You can do shorter books for sure. You can do like almost cards, but I really like the 36-page book because I think a little tiny spine at least gives it a little weight and looks really, really good. Now, 98 pages to be able to put your name and the name of the book on the, where am I? Spine. And then many of us are opting, like my dog book and like my student just did, for the comfortable 120 to 135 pages. Actually, most people are doing those books right now. Almost all of my mentors, I have a lot of mentors and I mentor a lot of people. I think it's so important to do both. And so they are all doing the 125 comfortable book because that's about how much attention span can read right now. For a bigger book, let's say a novel, or you're going to really do a big how-to book, or you want to expand your shorter book into a longer book, 300 pages is about max, 250 to 300 pages because of attention span. Again, we're not doing Missioner anymore. We're not doing 500 pages, 600 pages. A lot of my friends are insisting on writing the big epic book, the 500, 600 page book. And I'm encouraging them to make it into 2 books. So that's something to think about. I have one friend who wrote her 550 page book, and every agent she went to asked her to put it into 2 books, and she just didn't want to, so she didn't, but I really think she should have. So that's something to think about, and you can go the agent way, the traditional way, but there's a lot more to it, and I can cover that someday with you if you ever want. But I vote right now to self-publish on Amazon. I have a mentor who I take classes with, and she used to be a traditionally published author, and she found self-publishing on Amazon and is making way more money, loving it way more, loving the freedom, because every single decision is up to you. She did a very interesting thing too. Most people put the copyright page on the 2nd or 3rd page. She decided that since most people don't read that copyright page, she would put her other books on that page and put her copyright page at the end of the book. I wanted to do that too. But guess what? The person who's putting my books together for me, because I have a person who does that, I love her. She doesn't want me to because she's a little more proper. And because I want her to keep working for me, I actually am doing what she says. So I have my copyright page on the 2nd or 3rd page. But I encourage you to put it on the back page. I mean, who reads that page? No one. So anyway, but it does show that you're copyrighted. Do you know your book is copyrighted as soon as you type it on the page? You don't have to do it. For my big book, my grandmother's book, I did go through Library of Congress. For these shorter books, I'm not bothering with that. So anyone can write a 36-page book in a day or 2, and about something you already know. So and get it published in a week or 2 after editing. Please have a professional editor. We don't need more bad books. We want your book to look good. So I think that's one of the most important aspects that you might have to pay for.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's still morning.
Anyway, so to show your expertise, to use as a giveaway, and to coach from, use your PDF as a calling card or a giveaway when you're speaking at summits like this or podcasts. Do you know that you can be on podcasts today because you already know your subject?
I was on a Zoom meeting. I forgot.
You don't have to have your book out before you start podcasts. You can do podcasts to start advertising your book, to start having people think about your books. So, because you're already the expert, that's all they're looking for. But if you have a PDF to give away, they really encourage that and like that. So I want you to remember that there are no rules to writing. There's none, except for maybe some grammar rules. You need to learn some of that. And formatting, you can choose your own formatting when you're self-publishing. I have a few formatting rules I'll put up here, and you can take pictures of any of these pages so you can remember things. But I met one writer. I love him at Comic-Con. I've been going to Comic-Con for 14 years. That's why we're in San Diego right now. We don't have Comic-Con, but we still had our place booked. So he writes from 8 a.m. to 12 every day without fail. And that's just what Isaac Asimov did. He didn't say he got the idea from him, but I have read that years and years ago. He has his own rules. He only allows himself to do new writing for those 4 hours. No research and no editing, which are things I hide behind. Oh, I'll just edit. That'll be easier than writing. It's so much, it's fun. Research is fun. So if he wants to research and edit, he can do it the rest of the day, but not in those 4 dedicated hours. So even if you take 20 minutes of dedicated writing, think about that. I think it's a great rule to have. I do that to myself now, and it really, really helps. I think Steve and I went over that too, and I think he said it helped him too. There's another writer Oh, and this guy is a very famous science fiction writer. He writes a novel a month because he does the dedicated writing time, 4 hours. A novel a month. Don't expect yourself to do that, but I love that he does that. He's giving us permission to do all of that too. I heard on NPR a great story about a man. The way he writes is he goes to a place, like his first place was Queens. So he sits there for a year, sometimes 6 months to a year. He doesn't even know what he's going to write about, but he makes notes about what people are doing, where they're walking, what they're looking like, what they're saying. And then about 9 months to a year in, he knows what the novel's going to be about. The next place he went was somewhere in Italy or France. And I love that he does that. I'm going to do that someday. I want to go somewhere exciting and sit there till the idea comes to me. Or maybe I have my idea. But I just love these ideas that people are giving us. And here's the main thing here too, is you don't have to be perfect. We have editors. Get it down as fast as you can and fix it later. Let it be messy, unorganized. Just don't stop. Because when I first started writing, I wasn't a very good student in school. And I love to admit that because a lot of us weren't, right? And I didn't know any grammar, hardly any spelling. I've gotten a lot better. I help people with their books now, but I still have holes in that area. So I always have a professional editor. Here's just a few quick formatting details. Take a picture of this, just so you know, these are probably the ones you kind of need to go with, okay? So you don't have to. If you're self-publishing, it's all up to you. But I really prefer the page numbers on the corners of the book, because if they're going through the chapter list and it says page 22, they can find it easier. When you get your template from KDP, your 6x9 template, it's going to be in the center, but you can switch that around. I really, really like it on the corners. For that reason, easily to find. Let's make it easy for our readers, then they'll want to buy our next book, for one thing. So anyway, I'm putting out a workbook from my pen to published, and that's 8.5 by 11. And that's great to put out a workbook. Even your PDF can make a workbook. Anything can make a book. I have one client, she's written like 500 beautiful blogs, and they're beautiful. They're excellent. And I told her, you know what? You have 5 books there. Why don't you make your blogs into books? So that's what she's doing. You all probably have tons of material that you could turn into books already written. Maybe you just want to edit it or change it up a little. Like, for instance, my book about my grandmother from Cowgirl to Congress, which is every woman's story about getting the vote, by the way. She came from a terrible childhood. A teacher got her into Smith College. She put together the Pulitzer School of Journalism as her first job. She was the first woman lobbyist at the Capitol. She spoke all over London with George Bernard Shaw as his speaking partner. And then later in DC, she spoke all over DC with Eleanor Roosevelt. And later in life, in her early 90s, when I was with her, she spoke all over Hollywood several times with Gloria Steinem and Marlo Thomas, and took me along. So but this book, because I just told you the 5 books I'm going to take out of it, I'm going to make this long book. I did it the opposite of what I'm saying to do. This long book, and I'm going to make it into 5 other books. I'm going to have her growing up in Colorado in her hard life, but with the cute animal stories. And then I'm going to do her book in putting together the Pulitzer School of Journalism, and then her DC days, and then her London days. And so I'm going to put it into 5 short books. So there's a way of working it. You can write your short book first or your long book first, and then pare it down. So you probably already have so much material that I would suggest anybody take something and put it into a 36-page book, get it on Amazon and KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, and get a book in your hands, like my student did this week, which I'm so proud of them. I just love when people do that. It's so exciting to me, the whole process. Okay, now here's a really interesting, important question for you. Chatty versus professional. You need to think about and start writing, and you'll find your voice. May not know you want to write chatty or professional. Most business books right now are chatty. Hey, you went down to work and you were tired of it and you've decided to quit today. You kind of write that way. Or if my one client is writing a book about taking care of her husband before he died. And so she wanted to write it a little more professional. So you want to think about that. But right now what's popular is chatty. Everybody if all the business people are saying, just be super friendly and approachable, right? So chatty is like that. So with my dog book, it's super chatty. Have you ever thought about leashes? Well, I have trained my dogs, so I just go chatty in that book. And I think that's really, really exciting, And actually right now, I forgot to do something. I thought I had it in my PowerPoint, but could everybody, if you would like to go into chat and write down 1 to 3 book ideas you already have that you could talk about if you were to write down right now today. So go into chat and write down 1 subject you could write about right now without any prep, or 2, or 3. Let's see what happens. Oh, good. Maureen says mind-body connection, emotional intelligence. I love that. Emotional intelligence is so important. I talk about that with one of my dogs. This is my dog. Franklin, where am I? Franklin. And he has emotional intelligence. He leads all the other dogs. That's really exciting. My journey from depressed to delighted. Yeah, I've always thought that's going to be a good book, Steve. That's so important. How to create your content castle. Ooh, I love that. That's actually a good title for the book, too. You could work on that one. Lessons from the greatest storytellers. Oh, that's great. Those are great ideas. Yay. Okay. Well, good. And so keep thinking about that. Like, write down ideas. I teach write your short book in a day every 3 or 4 months, and I have one coming up September 14th that you can sign up for. Olivia says recruiting skills turned into entrepreneurship. Ooh, that's good. These are all good titles. Relationship marketing. Oh, that's a great title. That says what it is. So here's the deal. When you make your title, make it a working title, because once you run it by other people, they may come up with a better title for you. You want to be open. Maybe not, because I have my memoir coming out that I really want to call it The Cinderella Monologues, because of my tough childhood and coming to success. So I don't really want to change that name unless, and that's one book I'm going to float traditionally. If they want to change the name, I do it because I want to be published that way with one of my books. So anyway, so when you get your title, if your title doesn't say what it is, and it's esoteric, that's okay, because then you can put your subtitle in. You know what I mean? So you put your subtitle in, and then your subtitle can be an explainer, because most people aren't going to read the back of your book. You can explain on the back of your book, but most people aren't going to read that. Anyway, Lessons from My Brother Who Passed Away. Ooh, that's a really good title. I love that, Olivia. That's fantastic. Okay, take a picture of this page. This is just information to help you. Just if you're writing a novel and other things. So 1, 2, 3, I'm going to change it. Got that? Okay. Yes, okay. John, good question. ISBN, when you publish with Amazon, they give you a free ISBN. If you're going to go with Ingram Spark, that's a whole other subject I don't want to get into. You're going to need to buy a bank of ISBNs for $200 from Bowker, BOWKER. But let's not go into that today. That's a whole other subject. But I did do that with my grandmother's book. And then I got the ISBN here for the dog book. And the cool thing about my dog book is, where am I? I'm trying to show it. Oh, well. Anyway, I did my real dogs here, pictures on the back. but I found a cartoonist to do cartoons of my dogs on Fiverr. And now when I walk my dogs, I can't see my real dogs. I can only see my dogs on Fiverr. I mean, the cartoons, because he did such a good job. So, and it was $5 a picture. I put in like pictures of my dogs reading books, walking on leashes, walking me on leashes, you know. Does your dog walk you? You know, are you a dog whisperer? I made all my chapter titles kind of sparky and funny, you know, because it's fun. So yeah, Amazon gives you that free ISBN. It's fantastic. And as all day long, every day, you know, so it's great. Yeah. Are you a dog whisperer? And then I have another chapter. Am I a dog whisperer? Anyway, so another thing you need to think about doing, even right away, because you're going to need it for your podcast. Like, what if you start your podcast before you finish your book? You need to write your bio. And I always say write it in first person and write it in third person as if by a news reporter, because that's how they're gonna want it the most. But some people say, please write it in first person. So the first thing I teach in my class is everybody write your bios. It's so important. And that way also, guess what? You get a lesson in writing in first person and third person. And then you decide, do I like writing in first person or third person better? You know, you're gonna make way less mistakes in first person. For some reason, it's easier, way less grammatical mistakes. But that doesn't always fit. Like right now, I wrote a novel I am trying to float traditionally, The Four Thieves, in third person. And many of my beta readers have told me it might fly better in first person. So now I have to go through the whole book and change it and see how it fits. But I will do that because I'm dedicated to it, you know. So for now, just write 3 to 5 sentences. You want to have your short bio, which is 2 to 3 sentences, your medium bio, which is 3 to 7 sentences, and your longer bio, because some people will want that. Most people won't. Most people are going to want 3 to 5 sentences. And then also, then you have both, and you put them in a file on your computer, and then you go, oh, I need my little short first person bio today. Oh, I need my medium third person bio today, and then you copy it and put it into what they request. You know how we fill out those wonderful things that I filled out for Olivia and Steve for this talk. Anyway, and then word for word, you know, Mila Johansen is a coach, a writer, and then otherwise I am a coach, a writer. So write it exactly the same, I think, you know. I think that really works. Okay, the most important question of the entire day. Are you a pantser or an outliner? Put it in chat. I have traditionally been a pantser, but lately for my shorter books, like my dog book, I'm an outliner. So that's what is my gift to you. It says, you know, you can write your outline by your chapter list or your bullet list, and then pick what you want to write that's easiest. So lately for my shorter books, which are nonfiction, I'm an outliner. For my novels, I'm not, because I want new things to come in and people and characters that I didn't expect to take over. Which you hear a lot of writers say that. It's true. You can't stop them once they come in. It's impossible. The man I told you who writes for 4 hours a day, he's an outliner. He has 3 giant whiteboards behind him that he's outlining and then crossing out and putting more in. He does allow new things to come in, but he mainly outlines. So I respect that. I think whatever you are is fine, but don't spend so much time outlining that you don't write. That's the danger, okay? So that's the most important thing to me, you know, so. Many writers have gone back to pen and paper because they're finding out that you get way deeper ideas and thoughts. And I've been doing that because when I go on vacation or out away from home, I bring my notepad. And sometimes things come out on the notepad that I wasn't getting on the computer. So I'm doing both. And right now in, you know, colleges, universities like Harvard, they're not allowing kids to bring laptops anymore because if they take handwritten notes, they retain the information better if they found out. So just something to consider thinking about, you know. Whoops, where am I? One right way. Oh, this is great. You know, you can't copyright a title. Sorry, can't do it. So I was so surprised when I picked the name The Cinderella Monologues. It wasn't taken. I was so happy about that. So I have a trick. As soon as I come up with a title, I search to see if it's out there. If it is, I tweak the title a little bit. You can add a number or whatever. And then what happens is I make a Twitter and a Facebook page and a LinkedIn page and an Instagram page. And I did that with the Cinderella Monologues. So when people look up the Cinderella Monologues, they're going to think, because they don't know the rule, that it's taken, and they're not going to take it. So that's a trick I do, which is fantastic. And so then I use those sites to start promoting and gathering followers. Like on the Cinderella Monologues, I post a little bit of the book, you know, even a paragraph, even 2 paragraphs, maybe a chapter. And then my other friend, she wrote a fantastic book. You should look it up, Heartwood. It's a sort of an eco-science fiction, what happens if we don't repair the earth right now. And it's really well written. And she's in my writers group. We've all published in this writers group I'm in. Be in a writers group. It's a great way to get your kinks out and develop a harder shell, which we need. You can tell me anything now. I wasn't that way in the beginning. So she wanted to call it Heartwood, one word. And I looked it up for her. And I go, there's 22 books called Heartwood. And I looked up Heartwood, 2 words. There were only 5. So she decided to call her book Heartwood. So ask the internet. I take tutorials on YouTube all the time on how to do, especially computer skills and things like that. I ask about 10 things a day. And in your book, if you can consider no color pictures, in my grandmother's book, From Cowgirl to Congress, I put in 98 pictures, rare pictures from her that she had, Bernard Shaw, Gloria Steinem, I mean, amazing things. And at first, there were a couple pictures that had a shade of pink, you know, from the old days. So my first sample was $35. I was like, what? And then when I made it all black and white, my sample was $4.35. So if you can not do color pictures, or you get some tricks on that, there's some other companies who will do color pictures. I help people write their children's books. And one of my clients found a company that would make her 8.5 by 11 book with color for $10. So that's very, very, very reasonable that she would pay, and then she sold it for $22. So you can find all your covers made on Fiverr. It's a great quick place to do it. Find someone that you like the covers they're already making, and then make sure they tweak it with you. What I will do is pick 3 people to make my covers that are about $40 each. Sometimes they're really cheap. Sometimes they're $350. Don't do those ones. And I'll do 3 and see which one I like best and which one will work with me the best and who can understand English, for one thing. Because I worked with someone on my dog picture books and he couldn't understand my English very well. And he couldn't quite do the tweaks I wanted. But then I found another man in India who was fluent, and he tweaked it exactly as I said each time, because I usually go back and do 3 or 4 tweaks for you, you know? And so, wait a minute. Authors are expected to advertise their own books, whether traditionally published or self-published. So start now. Start with your Twitter. Even if you have a working title, put your title into Facebook and Twitter and all that as your titles. And then you can change your title anytime. You can change those names too, anytime you want to. So here's a way to do covers. This is great. I found the one on the right, this one, well, I can't remember. The one that's a little lighter colored, on a place called Book Covers. What's it called? Oh, it's promote book. I can't remember the name, but it's like pre-made book covers. You're going to find a lot of those. And the cool thing is they're like about $60 to $125, which is not much to pay for a book cover. I paid $500 for my grandmother's book cover because I had a professional in our town make it. But you don't have to do that anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore. So, but that one there, they put your name in, the name of your book, your subtitle, they put all of your information in, and then no one else can buy that book cover. It's yours. But I wanted my my person who works for me to make my book cover because she's been making. So she made the one on the left, and so I like both. I don't know which one I like best. Actually, would you guys go into chat and tell me which one you like best? Like, do you like? I'm still debating on this because we're putting it out this week on Amazon, even though I've been giving it away as a PDF for a year. So if you could just tell me, do you like the pre-made one or the one my TA made? Can you just put that in chat and let me know? And I'd like your opinion. I've been asking everybody I talk to about this.
We've been answering left and right because we don't know which one.
Oh, well, right or left? Well, this one here is pre-made. This lighter one, Creative Puzzles, Beginners. And then 101 Surprising Tips is the one that my TA made.
Oh, we chose left the one year.
Yeah. You know, I can't get back to chat. Could you tell me who liked which one better?
We like the TA one.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm so glad because that's the one I really want to use. You know, it's funny when usually when I do this in a class, it's half and half. You know, so I'm glad you liked the one that TA did. Thanks. You mean this one here, this one on the left, the one that says 100 Surprising Tips. I'm so glad because that's the one I like too. Thank you. That really helps. Mm-hmm. So, and I love Mariah. She's the one who helped me put my book together. So then here's a way to get buy-in to your book. Is you make about 3 different covers. You do this with titles too. And then you put it on Facebook and say, which one do you like? I got more people responding to my Facebook post than I ever had for anything else. It was like 120, 150 people, and they all wanted to tell me exactly what they wanted. Well, one person suggested that I take this one where it looks like she's walking on the path and put it with this one because most people like this color. You know, actually go in and vote. Just tell me which one you like. First, second, third. In chat. First, second, third. And so she told me to combine those two. And I didn't show it, but it shows later. But I did. I combined this coloring with this book here, with this one with her walking on the path. So it almost looked like the yellow brick road, but you know. Okay, so we combined them because someone suggested it. So that's another. You may already have picked your title or your book cover, and you may have already even almost published it. But still ask this because it gives buy-in. If they get to give advice, even if you don't pick the one they like, they're going to buy your book. It's a great advertising play. So, and you do it with titles too. So, you know, this goes into titles. Oh, when you're doing a short book and you want a few more pages, like I wanted my dog book to go to 135 pages, 125 pages, and it was like at 120. So I did some tricks. I double spaced between paragraphs, and I put my sentences 1.5 instead of 1, because that way it's easier to read for people as well, which they really like, you know. And so anyway, and then I put a lot of value at the end. I put in this huge 5-page thing of all the dog events on a calendar, which are like National Leash Day, National, I don't know, all kinds of days. You know, it was crazy how many wonderful dog days they had. And people really like that value. In my 101 tips, I put in like writers' conferences. I put in terms. I didn't just add things to add fluff. I added value. So always add value, which I think is really important. Okay, one of my mentors at Comic-Con, a different man, said the more books you have, the more sales you have. Not because you have more books, but because it builds your algorithms on Amazon. So it's really good. Like, let's say you do your 36p book. then you do your 98-page book, then you do your 125-page book, and then you do your 300-page book. You've got 4 books, and here's the deal. I always put my paperback on first so that it will go to my friends and family's bookshelves. I do that because I want them to have the real book, and plus make a little more money on the real book, but I really want them to have it. And then I wait 3 weeks to a month and I put up the PDF. I mean, the ebook. So the ebook is great. And the price point for ebooks, for longer books, if you want to really sell them, is $3.95. Shorter books are $1.95 to $2.95. That will sell them. And there's all these tricks I have in my book about advertising and getting tons out. I use Fussy Librarian, which is great because in Fussy Librarian, I usually can give away 1,500 books. And people say, well, I don't want to give away books, but you do, because these are people who are never going to hear of my book, were never going to find my book, and now they have my book, and it's all for ebooks. And I love when that happens. I do it once every 3 months. It costs about $50, but it's a great form of advertising, and I get sales out of it, which I think is really, really great. So, take all the writing classes you can, because you'll keep writing and getting material. That's what I do. I even though I teach these classes, I still take a lot of classes. Oh, I don't hand out cards. I make bookmarks, and people keep bookmarks because they use them. So, and I put things on both sides, info on front and back, which is great. And here's the book that I usually give away, but I'm giving away How to Get Your Book Started today. But this is my I think this book is 64 pages, and it's wonderful because it just gives you everything to do, everything to start. It'll be up on Amazon by next week probably. And then let's say you do this is what I'm doing. I'm going to do the hardcover first, advertise it to everybody, so that novel, soft paperback, 6x9, and then I'm going to wait 3 or 4 weeks, put it up as an ebook, and then I might even get it done as an audiobook. So Amazon works with ACX, it's called ACX. And I have my grandmother's book done by a wonderful reader. And you can do it 2 ways. You can pay them up front, which I couldn't do because it was like over $2,000. But I found a person who was a very good reader with great diction and enunciation. And she did it for half the profit. So we just share the profit. We get 40% of the profit. And so I get 20, she gets 20. And audiobooks are selling right now because people are using them while they drive, while they're doing housework, all those mundane things. So they're selling. And then I also do the PDF for giveaways. So I do all those in that order. So paperback, ebook, audiobook, PDF. I do PDF first because then I can start speaking about my book and give it away. So anyway, and then and start building hype now. Make sure you have your pages set up on Twitter and Facebook. I think are the very best. I think some people are good at Instagram and I'm not. So this is just another thing. I always put these little advertisements in your these are all my bestsellers. And it's very easy to become a bestseller on Amazon, and I can show you how so easily. It's so much fun, and mainly I do it with Fussy Librarian. So, and then you take a screenshot of it, and you're a bestseller for like 5 days. I got to #1 several times. These 2 books were traditionally published, and they were bestsellers a long time ago. They're used by teachers all over the world, and I have a lot more books. I don't have my dog book up here. I'm just putting them out now. I'm just having a great time with the short book. I'm really believing in it. Like I said, I'm going to take my long book from Cowgirl to Congress and make it into 5 more books. So, it's all very, very exciting. Whoops. That's going deeper into, I have a lot more information on, how to do Facebook. And like Steve has a Facebook group that's a community group. And so I have a Facebook group that's a community group on writing a short book. And you can write your short book today. You can join that on Facebook. And I put in tons of tips about writing, and then other people's workshops, my workshops, all kinds of information for you to access and implement in your writing journey. And I want to make sure you all get my free gift. Maybe Olivia's putting it into chat. Okay, and that will help you get started. Just start. Don't wait. Give yourself 5 to 20 minutes a day to write. And you can always connect with me on my email. And I would love to talk with any of you for an hour and see where you're at and what you need. Just, no complications, no obligation. I just love to talk with any of you. So and see what kind of help you need or what you want. And I think I'm being touted now as the person who makes publishing the easiest and fastest of anyone. And I love that. I just want to see your books out there. I get so excited when one of my clients puts out a book. It's so exciting. It's energetic. It's, sing your heart song through writing your book. Everyone can do that. We don't all have a stage for singing, but we have a stage for writing, and we have a stage for speaking. And my grandmother was a very famous public speaker, and thank God she trained me to speak. I'm so thankful. And writing the book was great because I got to be close to her again. I'm tearing up, you can tell. And we were so close. And I'm telling everyone, write your memoir. And the main reason to write your memoir is so your children will know that you were young once. That is my word I'm saying to everyone. So, contact me. Let's talk about it. Let's get together and be happy and write. That's the main thing. And walking every day is what gives me tremendous energy. Thank you so much for having me, Olivia and Steve. I'm so pleased to share all these precepts and ideas and strategies with you. There's so much more, but we got a lot done today.
Fantastic, Mila. I'd like to invite you to unmute and just give her a round of applause, please, because that was some amazing, just new ideas and perspectives today.
We go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's so fun. I just love talking about this.
One of my favorite subjects too.
Yeah, for sure, huh?
Absolutely.
And I like the fact that you break it down to small steps. Like, okay, you can start with the PDF. You can start with 36 pages, right? Like, start there, small steps. I feel like so inspired and energized now. And, and it's awesome that we have these non-traditional options that don't have to limit ourselves.
No, everyone can be published in a week. I promise.
I might give myself a challenge to do that and have a book published by the end of August or something.
Please do that. 15th of August. You got it.
All right, you're on.
And I love that you shared, just real life examples of your students, of your colleagues doing it, right? They're doing it, and you can share those examples.
I have one testimonial really great from one of my students. Do you want to hear that? It's 50 seconds. Here, let me share that again.
Please, yeah, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I think you'll like that. Where to go? Where's YouTube? Where's my YouTube? I know, we're in the way. Wait, I just had it. Oh, do you see my YouTube up there somewhere?
Not yet. We still see the book screen.
Oh, yeah, I got to get out of that. That's what I got to do. Get out of that. Come on, out. Doesn't let you out sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Oops. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Oh, wait, stop. No, stop share. I'm going to share. Hold on. Got it. Share screen. Go to share. No, it's not like, there we go. Out. Okay, where's my YouTube?
To your right there, Lori.
Oh, there we go. Here we go.
Can't hear it though. It's not coming through on our end.
Maybe you can copy and paste the link into our chat too for later.
There you go.
I'll do
That's a
that.
good idea.
I'll do that. Okay, there we go. Okay, great.
Awesome. Thank you, Mila.
You're welcome.
And enjoy that
Do we have any
ocean farming.
question? Does anyone have a question for Mila before she hops off, or? All right. Well, I think you get a lot of information to ponder. I was taking lots of notes, so.
No more excuses for not publishing a book, right?
Yes, no more excuses. That's right. That's right. Awesome. So I guess Steve will stop this recording and then get ready for the next speaker.
Absolutely.